The Detroit Lions have hired Mike Caldwell as their next head football coach to replace the fired Jim Schwartz. Both Peyton Manning and Tony Dungy heavily endorse Caldwell as a head football coach. In fact, Peyton Manning practically handpicked him himself when Dungy stepped aside and retired years back in Indianapolis. Caldwell, of course, led the Colts to the Super Bowl in 2009, where Peyton Manning and the Colts lost to the Saints and Drew Brees. And I wouldn't take much out of it when you look back at the final year in Indianapolis for Caldwell, when the team was clearly trying to get Andrew Luck by throwing the games. The front office wasn't going to let them win, and they didn't let them have the personnel. Peyton Manning, of course, missed the entire season with his neck injury. So, take nothing out of that. He spent his last season last year, that's Caldwell, with the Baltimore Ravens as the offensive coordinator. He comes to Detroit with a mission of discipline, because that's what they lacked. Jim Schwartz seemed to be a decent football coach, but the team lacked discipline. Too many penalties. The defense was overly aggressive. They incurred penalties that way. Way too many turnovers. If I'm Jim Caldwell, I'd take Matthew Stafford into my office and have a little bit of a meeting and just tell him the 5,000-yard passing seasons are over. We're going to throw the ball when only our guy can catch it, because we have a great defense and we don't necessarily have to score 40 points a game. They have obviously great talent. Everyone said this was the job to take, although that puts more pressure on the head coach to win immediately. Wisenhunt, who took the job down in Tennessee earlier, he has less pressure to win right away. But Caldwell is no stranger to this pressure, because he took the job over from Tony Dungy, and a couple years later returned to the Super Bowl. So he's got some bona fides as far as taking over a talented team. So Matthew Stafford, you could look for him to throw less interceptions next year. They're going to have more discipline, less penalties. You know, and Dominic Sue will have less suspensions. You're going to see discipline. And with that talent in Detroit, they should challenge Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers and, of course, the Chicago Bears. A tough assignment going into the NFC North next year for Jim Caldwell, who is now the new head coach of the Detroit Lions. Reggie Bush, you're going to get more carries.